Shri Muralidhar Rao, National General Secretary, Bharatiya Janata Party, dignitaries on the dais, eminent speakers, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The security and defense sector usually operates at a much higher technological sophistication levels than any other sector in the country. This makes the creation of industrial capabilities in defense a greater challenge. India's quest for self-reliance in defense therefore has to be seen in the context of the broader science and technology base in the country in general and the industrial capability in specific. The self-reliance model adopted in practice by India can best be described as one that fundamentally relied on diversification in the sources of weapon and military technology, while working on establishing and expanding the indigenous base for design, development, and manufacture of weapons and equipment. India is being repeatedly subjected to terror and cyber attacks, and hostile groups have also established front organizations in many Indian cities. As India's counter-terror efforts is yet to attain the global sophistication levels, it has been estimated that the expenditure on Homeland security market in India is to reach $14.9 billion by 2020 from the current levels of US $10.2 billion, growing at a CAGR rate of 7.9%. The new dimensions of threats India faces require very agile security governance. Our state responses are gearing up to match the speed with which things are changing. The security in Indian cities has substantially evolved, but still remains challenging. We will need fast deployment of manpower and technologies, not just to secure cities, but also to ensure that India's growth rate continues at over 8% per annum. The cyber domain, the fourth security dimension after air, land, and sea, offers its own unique set of challenges. India needs to move from the reactive to preventive strategy, which would entail significant IT and management efforts. Technology has to and will play an increasing role in the entire gamut of security components: counter-terrorism, border security, immigration, entry and exit point monitoring. More than 40 countries have already adopted biometrics for entry, while 12 and 13 countries require biometrics for granting visa. Keeping in mind the huge financial and infrastructure requirements, there is a large potential for corporates to play a role in the internal security sector. They can develop critical technologies for the country's unique challenges, supply sophisticated equipment, and ensure timely implementation of a variety of security solutions. Ultimately, in the arena of internal security, the race will be won by who makes effective use of latest technology, the terrorists or the government. On the defense side, India has the third largest armed forces in the world. The allocation of defense in India's union budget is approximately $34.53 billion, and 31% of the defense budget is spent on capital acquisitions. 60% of defense-related requirements are met by imports, which offers a huge opportunity for import substitution. The most important initiative of the government is the Make in India campaign, which brings under one umbrella the various initiatives taken or proposed to be taken to boost domestic manufacturing. Its success in the defense sector will largely depend on the extent to which the government can leverage its massive spending program to promote domestic manufacturing. The government has taken several policy initiatives to lower entry barriers and improve the ease of doing business in defense manufacturing. The regime and procedure for the grant of an industrial license for manufacturing defense equipment has been significantly liberalized and speeded up. Clarifications have been issued to facilitate the implementation of offset obligations. An export strategy has been announced with export NOCs being issued online. Further, the FDI policy has been liberalized, almost 90% of AONs that have been approved by the Defense Acquisition Council in the last 2 years have been under the 3 Make in India categories, and a new DPP is under finalization that should further strengthen the policy regime to promote defense production in India. Overall, the industry has appreciated the measures taken and the proposed innovations in DPP 2016. For instance, the industry welcomes the proposal to identify select Indian private sector defense manufacturers as strategic partners and believes that the new acquisition category of indigenous designed, developed, and manufactured will be a game changer for the future and will foster innovation and R&D. There are some words of caution though. Some OEMs are apprehensive about achieving the indigenous content of 60% and feel that this needs to be reduced or at least calibrated. For instance, almost 70% of the raw materials in aerospace has to be imported as composites, and many exotic alloys are not made in India. There is more than can be done through simplification of regulations and creation of an A&D ecosystem to accelerate growth. Infrastructure and skill development are critical for achieving self-reliance, and the government should continue encouraging clusters. The private sector should be treated as an equal partner, and a collaborative partnership approach should be followed with the supplier. Finally, the proof of the pudding is in its eating. The government must award major contracts to private sector in India as soon as possible. The public-private partnership call for security and defense provides the foundation for effective critical infrastructure and key resource protections. A wide range of government and private sector partners bring core competencies that add value to partnerships. Prevention, response, mitigation, and recovery efforts are most efficient and effective when there is full participation of government and industry partners. Therefore, it is important to apprise corporate leaders through the use of public platforms and private communications benefits of investing in security and defense industry that exceeds their business needs. Creating an environment that encourages and supports incentives for companies to voluntarily adopt for security and defense production. Greater private involvement would add much needed resource to those invested by the public sector, enhance efficiencies of projects, and improve prospects for success. A coordinated response would contribute in ways that benefit businesses and government alike. This is a critical juncture for expanding private sector involvement and for building upon the work that is already being done. I congratulate ASSOCHAM, Bharat Niti, and other organizers for organizing this summit, and I'm sure that this event will give us an insight of the perception and views of corporate India about the zeal in developing capabilities for defense production in India, and views of government as well as to support this effort of self-reliance in defense production with the involvement of private sector. Thank you.